Welcome back. We now want to conclude our discussion here with Bwana Daniel Manduku, MP Nyaribari Masaba, David Ole Sankok, MP East Africa Legislative Assembly, James Gakuya, MP Embakasi North, and Joe Mutambu, former MP Mwingi Central. I want us to make our final comments. I know it's one of those historic moments for the country, if at all that impeachment finds its way to the chambers today, and it's actually officially tabled before the National Assembly to be the very first time. We've asked and tried to answer issues on whether or not it is necessary at this time. Is it worth it only 2 years after President William Ruto became president? Now, let's try and make sense of this and try and give a way forward. There are those of you who suggest the Deputy President should resign at this time. As you make your final comments, Bwana Mutambu.
I'll keep my stand and suggest that if there is any person in this country who can save Gachagua today, is one William Ruto. If he acts the way he tells Kenyans that he is a Christian, and you know, being a Christian, there's a lot of things you have to do. One of them is to forgive. If you cannot forgive, then you are not a Christian. It doesn't matter what grievous mistake Gachagua did. For the sake of the country, because let me tell you, you know, we may be taking so lightly that it's just a matter of impeaching one man, Gachagua. But I would want to ask myself, behind Gachagua, who is there? And if it is true that Gachagua controls the so-called mountain, and he has a lot of following in the mountain, that is an area or a group or a constituency you would not want to mess with. Because messing with one of their own, you are messing with them. That's why I keep on referring to the Bible. What you did to one of my brothers, you did to me. They believe in that in Mount Kenya. You do it to one of them, you are doing to them. We don't know the consequences, the spiral effect of all this quagmire of impeachment. Nobody knows. We don't know what may erupt. And like Sogoko is saying, a wounded lion is very dangerous. We have seen a lot of things happening in our country until nobody knew that there was somebody who could go to parliament. But we found our youth there. We don't know how much power Gachagua has with this youth. We don't know how much power he has with this Mount Kenya. And Mount Kenya people are all over the country. That is one thing I would think first. But having said that, I want to tell Mr. Gachagua, you know, in this country, God pays here. You do something wrong to somebody, it will be done to you. And I want to give that message to Ruto. This man is here called Joe Mutambu, and I told you the other time. Some 2-3 campers went to his office, and he told him, Joe is a friend of the former government, Kenyatta and Kibicho, and he's having a government office, and we don't have office. Gachagua never thought, never even took 2 minutes to think, this gentleman, is he performing? Is he a Kenyan? Is he a what? He took a pen and wrote to, I don't know who, and I was fired the same day. So what he did to me is happening to him. But that is not the subject. I just want to caution, even to Mr. to Honorable Ruto, what you are doing today, yes, it was done to you some time back. But now you are doing what was done, and you gave Kenyans the promise that whatever happened to you will not happen to your deputy. Now, those are the things we are asking ourselves. How many and how is the feelings of Kenyans towards, what is the attitude of Kenyans towards Mr. Honorable President Ruto? How many people are happy with him? And that will determine his future in 2027. And my hand advice to him as a president, Mr. President, please, forget about Gachagua, forget about Didi Nyoro, forget about Kidiki, forget about Kimani Ichung'wah. Think of those people who made you something. What is their feelings today, and try to amend that.
Thank you so much, Bwana Mutambu. Bwana Gakuya, I know this, and you look even like this is burdening you a bit more today. But what is your feeling only hours before this impeachment, as you make your final thoughts?
It's a divining moment, and what I would say is that it happens on earth, because what transpires, we don't know what transpires up there in the heaven, but this is where we are, and since this is not, it's not going to make the president. because I think that worldwide there has been this experience of impeachment. What I would urge at this very last moment is that William Ruto, the head of state, when he needed support most, he was very sure, without the support of that community, he could be the head of state of this country today. He may be happy that now he has brought to bed those competitors that he competed with. But that very moment that he deserved support, he got the support from this mountain. And the rest of their team, Kenyan-wide, wherever they are. At this moment, I would ask him to consider maybe that simple, small thing that that community stood with him at that hour of need. This is our hour of need when I think the same community is watching to see whether he can still watch his side mirror and still and maybe change his mind. At this point in time, I will leave the God, our Heavenly Father, and William Ruto, the head of state, that he can be able to be touched and probably at this point in time have a change of heart.
Okay.
I rest my case.
Thank you, Bwana Sankok. Your advice to the president.
Fred Ndimuli, if I was to advise the president, and I hope he's listening to us, there is still time for them to sit with the Gachagua and solve these issues. And again, my president, let us reduce the numbers of enemies, because a wounded lion is very dangerous when it is outside there. Very many wounded lions will be devastating. And again, to the deputy president, Rigathi Gachagua, if you resign today, you will remain very relevant in politics. If the impeachment motion is stopped by court, you will be a de facto president. If the impeachment process goes through and the court is unable to stop it, you will go to the political dustbin. So it is now upon you to decide. And finally, to Kenyans, I want to announce to all of you that Narok County government is happy to announce that in this week, it will have 0 pending bills. It will have cleared all the pending bills. Because what is actually sabotaging our economy is pending bills from the government, the national government, and the local government. Because these are Kenyans who did business with the government. They have taken loans. The interest in loans is accruing. They have not been paid for 4 or 5 years. Even if they are paid today, they will only pay loan plus interest and remain with loans again. Okay. So please, if other counties can relate, and they can contact Governor Patrick Walentutu and know how he managed to clear all, I'm talking about all the pending bills.
Okay, thank you so much, Bwana Sankok. And Bwana Manduku, as you make your final comments, I'm going through the order paper today of the National Assembly. I cannot trace this motion of impeachment anywhere. Are we certain that because all the dailies seem to indicate that it's happening today?
What is said, penye moshi hapakosi moto. Granted, the order paper was circulated yesterday minus this motion, but then Parliament normally would introduce such a motion at the last minute or even this morning. So it's possible that the motion is still on the way. But I want to agree with my colleagues, Mheshimiwa Mutambu, Mheshimiwa Gakuya, and Mheshimiwa Sankok, and say that a simple phone call placed to the president or to the deputy president by either of them can solve this. If you look at our papers today, headlines, it's as if the world is coming to an end today because of a simple impeachment, which in my opinion is not worth it. But having said that, we have very many challenges in this country, whether it is in the health sector, education sector, agriculture, security, name it. And I'm asking my colleagues, so after we impeach Gachagua, will that be the end of our problems? Is discussing the impeachment of Gachagua the whole afternoon tomorrow and the whole week worth the time that we are going to consume in Parliament and even in the press? Is this our problem in this country? Why don't we spend this time addressing the university funding model, for example, which is harassing us as members of Parliament? Every day we are getting messages from our students that we cannot pay for our hostel accommodation, we cannot pay for our school fees. Every day we are going for fundraisings, funerals, because of a poor health system. Can't the leadership of the National Assembly bring critical motions that address these problems, especially problems that are affiliated to promises that this government made to our people? And so, after we impeach Gachagua, are we now saying we are going to live in utopia and all our problems are solved? I honestly believe, and I want to agree with Mutambo, that the Bible says that you should forgive 70 times. And we're asking the president, if the deputy president has made a mistake, forgive him this one time then. Not the 70 times. And then bring him to the table and agree. And we move together. And give him the last warning. Mm-hmm. Because I think that no matter what you say, some people will be injured. He's a father, he's a husband, he's a leader. And I think as a country we need to look at our leaders and if they make mistakes, get a way to recourse them. And so I urge the president to one last time forgive his deputy. Okay. And agree to work with him. And I for the sake of this country. I think I'm enjoying the kind of sobriety.
No, it is not two people who will stop the impeachment.
Yes.
It is actually three. Mm-hmm. It is Rigathi Gachagua, if he called the president, his boss. It is his boss, if he called Rigathi Gachagua and forgive him the last time. It is Raila Odinga. Mm-hmm. Raila Odinga can make peace anywhere with anybody at any time. If he made peace with Uhuru Kenyatta, who called him Moganga, Muchawi, and Mulevi, he made peace with the former president Moi, who jailed him for 9 years. Mm-hmm. We need that peacemaking process of Raila Odinga here now before you go and make the peacemaking process as the head of state of the United States of Africa.
All right, the headlines may be screaming that it's D-Day for Rigathi Gachagua, but at least so far we've seen the order paper of the National Assembly. That motion of impeachment is not there yet, but anything could change.
It can be introduced within 2 hours. The standing orders say within 2 hours
before the session starts.
Before the session starts.
Okay. So we still have a few more hours today to go before that. Asanteni sana, gentlemen. Daniel Manduku, MP Nyaribari Masaba. David Ole Sankok, MP East Africa Legislative Assembly. James Gakuya, MP Embakasi North. And Joe Mutambo, former MP Mwingi Central. A very sober panel today. All of them calling on the president to tone down a bit and reconsider this move of impeaching the deputy president. We also want to thank our viewers. Thank you so much for watching this show. I can see quite a number watching online through our streaming services on YouTube and X as well. Thank you so much. And this conversation continues online. You'll get these clips on X. You can continue communicating with us at TV47 News on X and TV47 Kenya on Facebook. A lot more coming up after the break. To stand by for that. Stanley is in the house. My name is Fred Ndimuli. Good morning.
June 2024, nationwide protests broke out in Kenya, opposing the 2024 finance bill. As the situation threatened to get out of hand, police officers were deployed to quell the unrest. Among them, Chief Inspector David Maina. Then hell broke loose. An explosive device went off, ripping off his forearms. He survives to tell the story.
I removed the pin, but there was, I don't know, there was some resistance. That pin, there was some problem in removing the pin. When it finally got off, and then I was just about to throw my stun grenade, I just saw darkness.
Join TV47's Lennox Sengre as he brings you an exclusive interview with Chief Inspector David Maina.
Hey there, friends. Welcome to Kids on the Block, where fun and imagination come alive. We dive into magical world filled with exciting adventures and awesome friends.
What position were you in?
I was number 2.
What position were you?
Number 1.
He decided to cross the bridge by his house and look for food on the other side. We're going to do half cup of chocolate chips, and the other one, we're going to do half cup of the blueberries.
So, grab your imagination hats and get ready to explore with us. Join us every Saturday at 9 a.m. for new friends, amazing stories, and tons of laughter.
Join us as we explore the journeys of those who defy the odds and break barriers. We dive deep into the stories of triumph.
Sometimes when parenting a child with a special need or whatever disability, family life becomes a bit complicated and you may end up raising the child on your own.
Here, we inspire.
I have a farm which one we showcase with other dyslexic youths and autism, how to farm.
Motivate.
It's never easy, but what we do, the best thing is to work with another parent who has an elder child than yours.
And break through the barriers one story at a time. Push your boundaries beyond the limit. Saturdays at 8 p.m. The Grind, where business meets brilliance. It's not just about the ideas.
I was working as a shampoo boy. I used to wash clients' hair on the sink.
It's about making them happen. From big wins.
In primary school, when we would be asked what people want to be, I was categorical that I want to be a nurse.
To hard lessons.
The consoles change, the gaming equipment keep changing.
We cover it all. Tune in to The Grind, where every episode is packed with insights.
The person who is serving customers, always be a customer-centric.
Strategies.
When you pay attention to detail, you get luxury items.
And stories to fuel your ambition. Don't just dream it, grind it. Mondays at 7:30 p.m.
Good people, this is Morning FM, usually Stanley Nyeringita, and it's good to be back. Now, this particular morning, we focus on the micro, small, and medium enterprises. According to the Kenya Kwanza Manifesto, it tells us that there are about 19 million people in this particular Kenyan workforce. Now, in this 19 million, just about 3 million, which accounts for about 15%, work in the formal sector. Our focus today is not about the formal sector. It's about now that 85%, which accounts for about 16 million people. Now, there's 16 million people in the Kenyan workforce who are in the micro, small, and medium enterprises. this again translates to people who are either in nicely set up small enterprise farms or the street vendors. Now, you and I have been in different towns. Na mkaona some of these street vendors who rush with their ware, wakifukuzana na county askaris, and that is what we are focusing on today. And you're lucky to have a taxman, a KRA tax expert. He is Karanu Mushiro. He's not a new face to this particular show. Karibu sana.
Thank you very much. Happy to be here.
Happy to be here as well. So first off, let's start with as KRA, your definition of micro, small, and medium enterprises. It might sound like self-explanatory, but as KRA, from the microscope of KRA, how do you define these people?
Thank you for that question. Allow me to first greet our audience and welcome to our Taxpayers Month. So we normally have Customer Service Week for a majority of organizations in the month of October. But for KRA, we feel that with the scope of the taxpayers and the taxpayers that we engage with, we need to celebrate them for the entire month. So my first thing is to say welcome and happy Taxpayers Month. On to your question.
It's always every October.
It's always every October. So from the 1st of October to the 31st of October, we go through a series of celebrations every day throughout the entire month of October where we celebrate and we engage our taxpayers just to show them the value that we place on them as they help us build this wonderful nation that we call Kenya.
Okay.
Micro, small, and medium enterprises. Micro, small, and medium enterprises has been a focus, and as you mentioned, is highlighted in the Kenya Kwanza Manifesto. However, our part is to implement the law without fear or favor as the Kenya Revenue Authority. And in this regard, we looked at what we call tax-based expansion efforts. And with tax-based expansion, the key focus was on something called the turnover tax. And the turnover tax is meant to address these micro, small, and medium enterprises. And as per the current legislation that is in place, we say that anybody that is trading between 1 million and 25 million shillings qualifies for the turnover tax. And this is meant to target them specifically because it is supposed to be 1.5% of gross income that is meant to be taxed at that point. The reason we are at 1.5% is because with the introduction of the housing levy at 1.5%, it was felt prudent to revise it. Initially, it was at 3%, but with 1.5% of housing levy on gross income, then therefore we also adjusted the turnover tax to 1.5% of gross income as well.
Right.
So most likely we focus on that particular segment of the economy. Anybody between 1 million to 25 million qualifies for the turnover tax, and that is the people that we focus on in that particular segment.
Right. So the fact that the reason that I asked that question first is so that back at home, wherever you're watching us, you can understand, do you fall under this bracket? Do you know someone who falls under this bracket that he has mentioned? Talk to us this morning. Do you have any burning questions on how the Kenya Revenue Authority is facilitating you as a trader to do your business without any difficulties? Unaona watu umefungua biashara, unauliza watu wa KRA, hebu funga biashara haraka haraka. Does this need to happen? Talk to us and ask the KRA all these kind of questions that you have and feedback. 22047 is our SMS number. 0793-267-279 is our WhatsApp number. Tutafurahia pia kusikia sauti yako. Call us live 0795-045-864. When you call us live, tell us your name, where you're calling us from, and kindly have your TV, your device off so that tupatane. So the fact that you've broken it down nicely, I'll start with a very big bracket that we oftenly overlook. I know it really has a lot to do with the county askaris and the county government, really, but I want to get your sentiment now as the Kenya Revenue Authority, which is basically mandated to, first of all, collect revenue on behalf of the government, assess and even collect and account for all revenues, and also advise in matters the administration of the collection of revenue. When you take a look at this bracket of street vendors who, first of all, are unlicensed, they wake up in the morning and they'd carry a bunch of their wear. They won't carry all of it. If, for example, someone sells clothes, they won't carry the whole stock. They'll carry a very small stock. They know, in case nifukuzwe, in case county askaris come to chase me away, I can carry this small bundle and run away with it. What does that do to the collection of revenue from KRA as well?
Good question. However, allow me to point out that licensing of vendors is any county
done by the county government.
The county. Okay. I cannot quote license because that is not within the scope of my jobs, and they're saying, hey, we can't do this kind of business.
It's true, though.
We want to tell people that that actually should not be the case because during this month of October, our Taxpayers Month, our theme is trade facilitation for business growth.
Yeah.
And this is to communicate very strongly to all traders, whether you're in the MSME sector, whether you're in the formal sector, whether you're a large taxpayer, small taxpayer, medium taxpayer, is that we are here to facilitate your trade. We are here to be your business partner. Because, you know, at the end of the day, government is the business of facilitating business. It's not in the business of doing business more often than not. So if we cannot create a conducive environment for you to trade and prosper, then we cannot therefore go on to collect the taxes that we need to ensure that this nation develops and grows. So if there's any institution interested in ensuring that you prosper, it is Kenya Revenue Authority. Excuse me. So when you see us coming, we are actually coming to see how better can we facilitate you.
Okay.
Where are your bottlenecks? Where are your pain points?
Right.
How can we address them, at least in as far as taxation is concerned,
Right.
to ensure that you're able to continue being a going concern and growing your business.
Right.
Now, onto the street vendors that you mentioned earlier. As I said, these ones are targeted by this turnover tax regime.
Okay.
More often than not. Yeah. And if you see in this particular month of October, we'll be having market activations.
Right.
We're coming to the ground. We do this throughout the year. It's just that it's emphasized and amplified in the month of October.
Well, one would ask, as much as it's not your purview on the licensing bit, but at one point it still affects you because this person, this vendor doesn't really know, they know you're from the government and you're coming to arrest them or take them away because they do not have the necessary license. So in this particular month, what you're going to do, these activities, what are you going to be telling these people on how they need to shape up their business and what they need to do?
So we normally have a lot of tax education forums. We normally call them for town halls. We also do a lot of barazas. We also go straight to the market and we pitch tent and we pitch camp there. And we have our officers engage with the market directly so that we can understand what is it that you are seeing as an impediment to growth in terms of you paying your taxes, filing your taxes. What's your interaction with KRA so far? And how can we make this engagement or this experience better for you? So we are in the market as we speak. We are on the ground as we speak. Like I said, we do this all year round. It's just that in the month of October, it's more amplified, it's more emphasized. So with these education forums, with these engagement forums that we have with our tax base and our taxpayers, we find that more often than not, they actually want to pay taxes. It's just the avenue and the channel through which that they're looking and the mediums through it they want to engage and pay that may not be aware or they may not know how to access them. And this is when we do this for them in this particular month. So if you're feeling that there is a government officer coming to you, and in this case, Kenya Revenue Authority coming to you, we're not coming to confiscate your wares. We're not coming to bundle you up and take you somewhere. No. We are coming to engage with you and see how we can onboard you onto the tax bracket so that you can contribute your fair share in the development of this nation called Kenya.
And currently speaking of onboarding into the tax bracket, according to the economic survey of 2023, it shows that approximately 16 million persons are employed in the MSME sector. In these 16 million people, first of all, how can KRA account for what these 16 million people actually do? And in these 16 million people, do you, let's say, follow up? Because if are they registered under KRA? Tell us about that.
You already alluded to this earlier when you were discussing what KRA does.
Yeah.
You said that we are the principal collector of government revenues, that ours is to assess, collect, and account of revenue. As to the business activity that you engage in, we leave that up to you. So long as it is legal, as defined within the laws of Kenya.
Right.
Because again, you must be engaging in legal
stuff,
legal business. We leave you to go about your business so long as you're operating within the market forces that are determining your market dynamics, and so long as you're operating legally as an entity. Now, once you have incorporated, or once you are operating as a business legally, ours is to come to you and help assess you that are you paying your fair share? And if there is maybe a knowledge gap, so maybe you think you are paying the correct amount of tax, but maybe you're not. Ours is to assess. Is there a gap between where you are and where you're supposed to be?
Right.
Then we move on to collecting that amount of money. And then now we account for it through, and this we do through the annual reports that we do, saying that this is the amount that we have collected throughout the financial year from these respective sectors and from these industries that are currently operating in Kenya.
Right. So case in point, someone called, let's say, Kamau out here in the streets of Nairobi has opened a shop that sells clothes, for example. He's in the bracket of the micro, small, as well as medium enterprises, entrepreneur, basically.
Yes.
And he's licensed. Yes. So how many taxes does Kamau have to pay?
So Kamau, who is a clothes vendor.
Yes.
Yeah. And maybe your annual turnover is, say, 4 million shillings.
Okay.
Correct? So because your annual turnover is 4 million shillings, and you want to opt for the turnover tax regime.
Okay.
Meaning that on a monthly basis, you need to pay 1.5% of your gross sales. So let's assume that your gross sales on a monthly basis is 400,000.
All right.
So out of that 400,000, you pay 1.5% to KRA as your fair share.
So that's the first one.
That's the first one.
Okay.
Yeah. And turnover tax, once paid on a monthly basis at the end of the year, that's a final tax.
Okay.
So that, for that particular example, that is what you need to pay.
Okay.
Of course, you have other county fees, etc., but that's a county government issue.
Okay, okay.
But as far as national government is concerned, and the taxes that you're supposed to pay, and if you're registered for turnover tax specifically, you pay 1.5% of your gross sales, and that is the amount of tax due and payable on a monthly basis, because turnover tax is payable on a monthly basis. Yes.
So are there any others?
For him, in that specific example,
yeah,
there aren't any other taxes that are due at that point.
Now, apart from what you're saying, the county levies.
Yes.
Okay. So the reason I'm asking that is because many people, and you can also walk us through the process of starting up if they want to get into this setup, because we probably need to move from 16 million upwards maybe.
Yes.
But even as you walk us through this process, many people feel like there are too many taxes that as an SME I'm supposed to pay. And I'm pretty sure KRA has received this. Tell us about that.
Taxation is on income. So it depends on the streams of income that you have available to you. As we know, Kenyans are very industrious people, and you're unlikely to have only one source of income. You could have built flats, so at that point you have rental income coming to you. Kamau is, in his example, maybe he's selling clothes. So at that point he has the turnover tax that he's paying in terms of business income. And then possibly you have, maybe you're selling insurance, and at that point you have commission income coming to you.
Okay.
So the tax is on the income that you're receiving based on the streams that are available to you. So taxation is on income. It's not that you're paying multiple taxes, it's that you're paying tax on the income stream that you are receiving.
All right.
So that is what we do. We tax the income stream that you're receiving. So rental income has its tax. Business income has its tax.
Okay.
Commission income has its tax.
Okay.
If possibly you've invested maybe in a bond or so on and so forth, or you have put an interest instrument with a respective interest giver, you have interest income that you're receiving, and therefore there is interest taxation that you pay.
Right.
So it's taxation on income stream that you are receiving, not that you're paying multiple taxes. Yeah.
In the spirit of facilitating trade, as KRA, because when you look at the products that we use, even that I have here, I'd say a bunch of them are probably imported into the country. And these are MSME traders in the country right now who are sourcing products from different parts of the world, largely really from China. Talk to us about how the environment is, and the Kenya Kwanza Manifesto is really large on shifting from a hostile kind of environment to a friendlier kind of environment for these traders when you go to the customs and mostly the Mombasa port. What is the environment there? Many complain of lengthy procedures. Should it be so, or should it be a quick and fast kind of procedure?
As I mentioned earlier, that KRA is in the business of facilitating trade.
Yeah.
That is whether it's domestic trade or international trade, which is now where you're coming into the various points of entry within the nation. Now, one thing I must mention is that KRA is an ISO certified 9001-2015 institution. To simplify that, it means that we are a continuously learning institution.
Okay.
Because that is one of the principles of this particular certification, which is international best practice.
Right.
So our taxpayers, over the period of time that they have been operating, we continuously improve our trading practices and our facilitation in that particular environment. So I wouldn't say that it's hostile, is that it is adapting to the needs of the time. So maybe there was a reason why those particular lengthy procedures were required. Because you must remember that one of the mandates of customs is protection of the society.
Okay.
And you see, there are things that can come at the border points that may not be beneficial for this particular society.
Okay.
And those procedures are there as checks and balances to ensure that those things that are not necessarily required for the advancement of this society are kept at bay. But for those which are there, I want to talk about something called the Authorized Economic Operator Program. Now, this is a program that is ensuring that those taxpayers who engage in healthy business practices and have been proven to be compliant over a period of time, and they meet certain benchmarks, are facilitated expediently. And we want to ensure that as many as possible taxpayers are in the Authorized Economic Operator Program. Because the more of you that are compliant, the more of you that engage in healthy business practice, of course you should be facilitated as quickly as possible so that this economy can continue to grow, this economy can continue to be robust. It is in the interest of Kenya Revenue Authority to ensure a thriving economy. So when you go to the port of Mombasa, you will find that for those in the AEO program, they are facilitated expediently. But even for those who are not in the AEO program, they are also facilitated as expediently as possible as we promote their trade within the nation.
How does one onboard on that program?
On the AEO program, we have a trade facilitation team within KRA.
Okay.
Now, I would encourage you to visit the trade facilitation team. It is based at Samia Business Park, or you can visit our website or call our customer care center, and they will give you the respective steps that will guide you towards joining the AEO program. So like I mentioned, there are qualifications that we must go through as a trader, as a taxpayer, for us to review whether you qualify for that program. But should you qualify, you will be onboarded onto it very quickly so that we can ensure that your trading process is expedient.
Still on that bit, according to subsection 5 of the East Africa Community Customs Management Amendment Act 2019, this particular act has been, was there in 2004, but it has received quite a number of amendments. Subsection 5 says, where entered goods are not removed from the port of discharge after the expiry of the 21 days prescribed under subsection 1, the goods shall be deemed to be in a customs warehouse. As an expert, do you think there's a downside to this particular law on both the seller as well as the buyer? The seller, in this case, someone who sold this merchandise from outside the country, China, whichever place, and brought it into the country, and the buyer who is supposed to go for this product. But then after 21 days, whatever is in this product.
So when I listen to that interpretation of the law, I think there are a few things over there that are encouraging. That number one, we're saying within 21 days.
Okay.
So that tells you that we expect that within 21 days we have facilitated you and that your goods have been moved.
That's about 3 weeks.
That's about 3 weeks. So that you can go on to continue trading. In fact, one of the things I also want to mention is that at current best practice, we are at about 56 hours in terms of port operations clearance of your goods.
Right.
That is what we want. So even when you're discussing 21 hours, those are the exceptions to the rules. And when we're moving them to a customs warehouse, should there be any extraneous circumstance that has mandated the movement of that good into our customs warehouse, that means we are keeping custody of those goods as we resolve any challenge that you may have encountered through your trading or your trade facilitation process. So when I listen to that law, it's not a downside. It's that number one, we're telling you, you have a maximum of 21 days. If anything, we want to clear this within 56 hours, ideally. 21 days is an exception to the rule. But we must provide for contingencies because there could be a scenario within which it exceeds the 21-day period, but we want you to have access to your goods. I mean, they're yours. So at the end of the day.
So at the end of the 21 days, the fact that the law says they'd be deemed to be in a customs warehouse, what happens to these goods? Zikia kwa your customs warehouse?
So just the normal rules of warehousing. When it moves to the customs warehouse, it means that it has moved into the custody of the Kenya, throughout the way in the custody of the Kenya Revenue Authority, as we are seeking to transfer custody from us to you. At that point, it's storage to ensure preservation of those goods. Yeah? And then now at that point, the eventual result is to ensure you receive them. Bottom line is that you receive these goods. Because there could be something that may have come up unforeseen that requires maybe a lengthier clearance procedure. Maybe there's a license you didn't receive from a partner government agency. Maybe there was possibly you need more time to gather the resources available to clear the goods. And therefore, at that point, we are willing to store the goods for you as you organize your finances, you come pay us, we release the goods unto you, you trade, you enjoy your profits, and you pay your domestic taxes. So always, our end result is to facilitate you. And we must provide for contingencies in the eventuality that maybe you're not able to clear these goods within 21 days.
Right. Again, at the end of the day, mtu atapata goods zake.
That is our objective at any time.
Hapo ndio pale Kenyans breathe a sigh of relief for some of our folks. Now on the flip side now, because we're talking about a Kenyan trader somewhere in Nairobi, let's go the same hypothetical we had of Kamau, our clothes vendor. And he was, I'll end up Mombasa port after the 56 hours. He's received it. But then now we have someone else who wants to export products. Talk to us about that particular process, because I believe it is still in the purview of the spirit of facilitating trade now out of the country.
Yes. In fact, if anything, as Kenya Revenue Authority, it is in our best interest to ensure that we have more exporters. Because when you become a net exporter of capital as opposed to a net importer of capital, that means your balance of trade has improved. And that means that your economy is stronger. So trade facilitation for exporters for us is key. And even some of the things we normally do is something called zero rating of VAT goods at all times. That means that those goods will not be subjected to any VAT to ensure that your goods are able to compete globally. So that process, again, is very simple. You engage with our trade facilitation team at customs, and they will be able to give you the respective licenses. Because remember, for example, if you're exporting horticultural products, there are certain licenses that you need to have in place. If you're exporting possibly restricted goods, there are certain licenses you need to have in place. So for us, it's a matter of, are you compliant with the respective laws of the land? If you are, we are all but too happy to give you the respective export certificates that you need for you to export your goods. Because for us, what you need are the export certificates from us. Once you have met the requirements, we're happy to give it to you, and you export your goods and you bring in more revenue for the nation.
I'm taking a look at from KERE, the Simplified Trade Regime for Macro, Small and Medium Enterprises Information Pack. And it talks about some of this restricted exports that I believe not many Kenyans really know, and they deal in them. First off, scrap metal, timber, fresh and processed fish, charcoal, as well as used automobile batteries. So first off, so that Kenyans can also understand why are they restricted exports. Also, in this particular month, because I know you're going to be big on educating people on this whole bit of what KRA does and all that. What you're going to be telling them about this?
So remember, as I mentioned just right now, that we want to become a net exporter of capital, not a net importer of capital. So the answer very simply lies in improved manufacturing. And we have had conversations even nationally beyond KRA as to the level of manufacturing threshold we want to reach within the medium term, so that we can become a competitive economy and move from developing to developed. For that to happen, we need certain factors of production in place. Metals, of course, are one of the things. His Excellency was clear that he wants to ensure that we have more furniture being manufactured locally as opposed to us importing. So what does that mean? It means that we need these resources here more than our counterparts abroad. So one of the things that we do is to restrict this type of goods, as you mentioned, scrap metal, timber, and so on and so forth, so that we can encourage local manufacturing, local assembly of these products that we need, so that we can move our nation from developing to developed and improve our current level of manufacturing within the medium term to where we can now launch to where we want as a nation to reach.
Right, fantastic. In Kenya, there's so many startups right now, and they're big on innovation. And I'm curious, as KRA, how you're using this whole, how you're leveraging innovation to really simplify tax administration for these local businesses.
You know, technology is a great enabler. And even if you look at our values as Kenya Revenue Authority, simply acronymed techies, the I in techies stands for innovation. And that means that we are an innovative, at the heart of our institution is innovation-driven tax initiatives. So what has innovation done for us, and how have we leveraged technology to be an enabler? Something that has already been in the market for quite some time, iTax, The ability for you to just access your tax needs at the click of a button. Right now, if you just take your tablet or your phone, you'll be able to log into itax.kra.go.ke and be able to administrate your tax affairs. All of these startups that are coming up in the country can just even visit our website and know these are the things you need to comply with where KRA is concerned. It's about bringing this technology closer and closer and closer to our taxpayers. So we leverage technology all the time, and we are a data-driven organization. So even some of the decisions that we make as KRA, they are founded on the realities of the market as it is today. So when it comes to our startup community, we engage them, we have forums with them, we listen to them, and we try and develop solutions that work for them to ensure that taxation is as easy as at the click of a button. Because last time I was here, I spoke on what it is that you need when you think of KRA. And it's simply compliance. So how can we make this compliance journey simple for you? And we try and innovate around that area as often as we possibly can.
I'm smiling because I think you read my mind on that bit of compliance, because that is where I was going next. You've definitely also, and previously talked about, you've talked about the iTax, and this also brings us now to the eTIMS. KRA has really been big on this, and the fact that I'm raising this is on the spirit of facilitating trade. We see, I think it was more than 80% of farms snap that whole eTIMS rollout. They haven't yet. You can tell us so far how that process of registering into the eTIMS and onboarding into eTIMS is going on so far. But then this raises a whole question of behavior change that really needs to be there for MSMEs, really, when it comes to what KRA is telling us. KRA is telling us this, but then we see and we, okay, let's see how KRA will respond after a couple of years, and then we'll see, do we really need to? We'll see about that in some later years. Tell us about that as well. The kind of behavior change that really needs to be there in the country. What is KRA doing, and what it's going to be doing this month to really try and change that?
So eTIMS, this has been something that we've been rolling out for the better part of 2 to 3 years now. We started with VAT traders specifically, but then we rolled it out to the entire tax base. eTeams is a market solution that we deployed as a response to taxpayer needs. Like you asked just right now, you said, what are some of the innovative things that we are coming up with?
Yes.
eTeams is one of those innovative solutions that is meant to make tax compliance simple. Like I mentioned, we are a values-driven, data-driven organization. That tech is, the last S stands for simple. And we need to make tax payments simple. And this is based on the feedback we receive from taxpayers. Taxpayers have said time and time again, how can you make the filing returns process that much easier? Allow me to speak on the VAT traders who have eTeams already onboarded on their system. So say I am trading with you and I sell goods to you and you purchase goods from me. The way it works on the eTeams system where VAT traders are concerned is that you can have a pre-populated return. That means that when you come to file your VAT return at the end of the month, you will find the purchases and sales already pre-populated on the system. We do make an allowance for you to be able to capture that which may not have been captured, but largely we want to move to an era whereby when it comes to time for filing returns, it is as simple as at the click of a button. We are not yet there where it's just end of the month, clicking the button, you've confirmed. Where we are right now is you have to download an Excel form, but it already has all of those returns pre-populated. That's where we are now. Right. Like I mentioned, innovation is gradual. Just like you build an agile product, you build as you adapt to market needs. So you build, you deploy, you build, you deploy, because this is what the market is saying.
Okay.
Now, when it comes to other taxpayers or non-VAT traders, we want to ensure that everybody is on an even keel. Because what happened? The market came and told us that some of us are enjoying undue price differentials due to tax advantage. Okay. While we cannot regulate everything, we can regulate where taxes are concerned. And if the price differential is because one person is accounting for their tax in full and the other person is not accounting for their tax in full, KRA must step in. So what did we say with the Finance Act of 2023? That for you to claim any expense, it must be generated from an eTeams device. Because before somebody could overstate their expenses or underdeclare their sales, and therefore have a lower amount of tax to pay. And that, you see, is creating an undue advantage to someone. Someone is not being fully compliant, But now you see with eTeams, we are saying that you have to declare all your sales through eTeams and all your expenses through eTeams. This we expect, at least where tax is concerned, you will be able to account for that price differential that was being caused by tax and due tax advantage. Because as a regulator, because remember, KRA is a government institution that's a regulator. As a regulator, we must ensure fair practice where something is being unfair due to an area of our concern or an area of control. So that is what eTeams is doing.
So the fact that about 80% of firms have not yet onboarded, is it a question of they do not understand this as much as you keep on doing this education, or they just simply don't want to?
As with any innovation or as with any product, you must remember that there are the laws of commerce at the end of the day. Uptake will follow a normal curve. You'll have early adopters, normal adopters, late adopters, and then eventually the curve will plateau. So we are at 20% uptake. That's just following the normal curve. At some point, we'll be at 40, 60, 80, and eventually we'll be at 100. Because next year, when our taxpayers want to claim their expenses, and for some reason they're not able to because it's not eTeams generated, at that point you expect the uptake to go up, because at the end of the day, you don't want to pay more than you're supposed to. And you see, even for us as a government agency, we don't want you to pay more than you're supposed to, but neither do we want you to pay less than you're supposed to. We want you to pay the right amount of tax. So eTeams, following the normal curve, eventually it will be adopted. And even during this time, we are open to feedback. The challenges that taxpayers are facing with onboarding, we are listening, we are responding.
Now, that is where I was going to, because you have about 31 days for this month. And in case you're just joining us, KRA will be having a taxpayers month, and this is just some of the activities that you're going to be seeing in different parts of the country. First off, appreciating taxpayers, which I'm really curious about. You're going to be telling us how they're going to be honoring contributors who are compliant. And they're going to also be having the KRA Summit 2024, which I believe is starting on the 7th all the way to the 9th of this month. They're going to also be having tax education forums, as well as employee well-being initiatives supporting career staff like Arano here, recognition and awards. They should be giving you this employee well-being initiatives and, for being here to tell us about that. But then, as we wind up, tell us about these bits that people really need to know, and the main message that you really need Kenyans watching us this morning to know about this month.
The most important thing that I would want Kenyans to remember during this month, where we are appreciating our taxpayers, KRA is your partner, your willing, able, responsive partner to develop your trade. That's what we're here to do. We want to see you prosper. We want to see your business grow. Because if your business grows, then of course your ability to pay taxes increases. But even beyond the taxes with which are mandated to collect, it's your contribution to the economy. When you grow your business, you're employing more people. When you grow your industry, that means you're developing your immediate community, isn't it? And when you're growing your business and it becomes a magnet or a titan of industry, that means you're affecting an entire county, an entire city, and you're affecting an entire nation. You're also improving our ease of doing business indices. And that's what KRA is here to do. Where is it that you're finding challenges in doing your business? Where can KRA make the process simpler for you? Where are the pain points for you when you're engaging with us? Tell us. We are willing to listen. Like I said, we are an internationally certified institution, ISO certified institution, amongst which the principles is continuous improvement. So we acknowledge and we recognize that the solutions to your problems at times lie with you, and the solutions are in the market. And we are listening. We are not saying that we have all the answers, but we are saying we can adopt them and respond. Whenever you think of Kenya Revenue Authority, think of your listening, caring, responsive business partner.
Right.
That's what KRA is here.
Right. Well, Pranav Mushiru, thank you very much. He's Kenya Revenue Authority tax expert. Ladies and gentlemen, happy Taxpayers Month to you. You've listened to what Karanu has been telling you about this particular month and what you need to know, particularly for micro, small and medium enterprises. If you're an entrepreneur on this particular bit, you have this whole month to either on board on the whole eTIMS bit. You have the whole opportunity to actually ask KRA these questions. On the 7th to the 9th of this month, we have the KRA Summit and this particular week. So prep for that and buckle up for that. In case you are at home right now, how safe is your home in case a fire comes up right now and erupts right now? We'll be having Jose just to tell us all these bits in a few, but don't go too far. Weka remote hapo chini, usiende mbali.
June 2024, nationwide protests broke out in Kenya, opposing the 2024 Finance Bill. As the situation threatened to get out of hand, police officers were deployed to quell the unrest. Among them, Chief Inspector David Maina. Then hell broke loose. An explosive device went off, ripping off his forearms. He survives to tell the story.
I removed the pin, but there was, I don't know, there was some resistance. That pin, there was some problem with removing the pin. When it finally got off, and then I was just about to throw my stun grenade, I just saw darkness.
Join TV47's Lennox Sengre as he brings you an exclusive interview with Chief Inspector David Maina.
Hey there, friends. Welcome to Kids on the Block, where fun and imagination come alive. we dive into magical world filled with exciting adventures and awesome friends.
What position were you in?
I was number 2.
What position were you?
Number 1.
He decided to cross the bridge by his house and look for food on the other side. We're going to do half cup of chocolate chips, and the other one, we're going to do half cup of the blueberries.
So, grab your imagination hats and get ready to explore with us. Join us every Saturday at 9 a.m. for new friends, amazing stories, and tons of laughter.
Join us as we explore the journeys of those who defy the odds and break barriers. We dive deep into the stories of triumph.
Sometimes when parenting a child with a special need or whatever disability, family life becomes a bit complicated and you may end up raising the child on your own.
Here, we inspire.
I have a farm which one we showcase with other dyslexic youths and autism how to farm.
Motivate.
It's never easy, but what we do, the best thing is to work with another parent who has an elder child than yours.
And break through the barriers one story at a time. Push your boundaries beyond the limit. Saturdays at 8 p.m. The Grind, where business meets brilliance. It's not just about the ideas.
I was working as a shampoo boy. I used to wash clients' hair on the sink.
It's about making them happen. From big wins.
In primary school, when we would be asked what people want to be, I was categorical that I want to be a nurse.
To hard lessons.
The consoles change, the gaming equipment keep changing.
We cover it all. Tune in to The Grind, where every episode is packed with insights.
The person who is serving customers, always be a customer-centric.
Strategies.
When you pay attention to detail, you get luxury items.
And stories to fuel your ambition. Don't just dream it, grind it. Mondays at 7:30 p.m.
Is morning. I'm usually standing